have a citizen in our.
All right, we should be good.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to our Kingsburg Public Safety Committee meeting today for Monday, May the 8th, 2023. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First on our agenda, we have public comment. Okay. So, does anybody, come on up, Brandon.
Good afternoon, Brandon Purcell, Mayor Pro Tem and Chairman of the Finance Committee for the City of Kingsburg and resident of Kingsburg. The reason I came today is because I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about potential use of your discretionary funds that you have within this committee. Recently, we got out to bid at Athwal Park for bathrooms. That's been a project that's been going on for a while. The bathrooms are going to happen. They're a little bit delayed, and because of the delay, the price has gone up significantly for those bathrooms. We currently are a little over $250,000 over the initial estimates for the bathrooms, and we are scaling back some of the other things. But one of the items that we're running into an issue with is the power there. PG&E is backed up. They're not connecting people when they should, and we're likely going to have the bathrooms in place with no power for 6 to 8 months. One of the alternatives that we have for that is to provide a temporary power source there. That cost is about $30,000 to $50,000. My reason for being here today is to ask if you guys could potentially contribute to that, or if you would consider it for the future, contributing a portion of your discretionary funds towards that. The reason is, regarding public safety specifically, this will allow the bathrooms to be used earlier at Athwal Park, probably 6 to 8 months earlier, with full lighting, so it'll be safer there. But also that is part of the infrastructure for the camera system that's there. So your cameras that are there will be up and running sooner, and it'll have a nonstop power source. Currently, they are all ran with solar, which is great, but it's not the most reliable. So this would kind of serve two purposes for us. Initially, that 8-month period, it would bridge that gap in power for the bathrooms, but it would also allow the cameras to have nonstop power so that they can be live viewed at any time, regardless of the weather. So, questions if you guys have any. If not, if you want to research it more or take it into consideration, at our last Finance Committee meeting, we had a full breakdown of everything at Athwal Park. We cut back on a bunch of the concrete work, foundational stuff that was kind of an extra so that we could get closer to budget. And I think we're doing good with staying close to the budget, but we don't want to cut out that power source, which would basically be a way for us to store that power to generate it before PG&E can come hook everything up. So it's looking like PG&E, best case scenario, would be there December or January. So we would kind of go through a full season of sports where people would be in a dark bathroom. That's what we're trying to avoid. So that's all I have for you. If you guys have any questions, if I can't answer them, I will.
What's the power source? What type?
That is going to depend on, that's going to go open for bid. We didn't put specifically what it is for a temporary power source. So I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you something that's wrong, but I assume it's going to be some sort of a battery storage. I don't believe they're looking at like generators or anything like that.
In relationship to the bathrooms, where are the closest cameras and what are they currently viewing?
I don't know. I don't even know that there are cameras that are viewing the bathroom, where the bathroom is right now. I think part of the build out is to put more cameras in the bathroom so that they can be viewed. Because that's one of our bigger concerns is, one of the major things that we want to view is that, because that's where we're going to have graffiti, that's where we're going to have issues, that's where we're going to have kids causing problems, is going to be in the bathrooms. So there will be additional cameras if nothing else. I would have to talk to the Media Foundation to see exactly what their build out plan is.
Yeah, was your question, where are the cameras right now? Right now, they have cameras on the play structure there at Athwal. I take my grandkids there, and in the back, just right behind the play structure on the all weather, all rubber, safety ground for the covering for the groundwork for the play structure. The cameras, there's a light there, and they have a little bit of solar. Cameras are, just right behind the play structure. Like I said, just about a foot or two on a pole, you know, the cement pole, close to the play structure. Feet, you know, but of course the cameras are probably at least 15 feet in the air or higher. They're on solar right now, so there's no electrical to them. I think we've talked about that in our meeting.
Well, what's the issue with, the solar, because with a sufficient, like a battery? Power.
That's what we're asking for, is the solar, it would be the battery backup.
Any other questions for, Brandon Purcell here? From anybody about? Okay,
Thank you for your time.
yeah, thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
I see no other buddy in our room, we will close public comment. Next, approved minutes from the February 14th Public Safety Committee meeting, prepared by Abigail.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. Thank you. Minutes from the last meeting are approved. Next, we have use of funds discussion for next budget year. I'd like to start off by saying, in our last meeting, we talked a lot about potentially using some funds for, to put out their fentanyl awareness. Well, I got some good news. I know we were trying to get, fentanyl awareness, education and awareness for parents, and I talked to Don Shoemaker, at the high school, superintendent, and, said, well, we already had one of those this year. And it was at the Little Theater, and it was for students and parents. And he said, you know, they were not real happy with the turnout. It was, you know, a little less than what they would like to have had. But I said, well, Don, are you open to having the, he goes, absolutely, I'm open to having, Lisa Smith and Dean Cardinelli, right? I knows him, yeah. And Officer Dean Cardinelli, they want to do it early next year in their school year. They want to have them in there and have an assembly.
Daytime or evening?
No, during school, yeah. So last year, I think what it was, or this past school year, it was during school also. They had I don't know who the gentleman was that went and spoke, because I asked my daughter Audrey about it. He was, I think he was a former addict, and he spoke of, Sean?
Yeah, I don't remember what he was a former.
Yeah, addict, right?
Right, and a powerful message. I don't know what his, like, so name was, but he found it, it's very inspirational and
That's a pretty good claim to fame.
Yeah.
powerful.
Still,
Yeah,
He's still alive.
yes, and doing well, so, and that kind of speaking.
Yeah,
So,
I think what they had was, excuse me, Alan, they had an assembly for the students, and then that night, they had some in the theater, yes.
Yeah.
and is that what they want to do again, or just,
Yeah, I think
go with?
they want to do both again, yes,
Because I can see if it was just a daytime assembly,
yeah,
parents can't make it, you know,
Right.
and that's the weakest link right now. Where
yeah.
not only of the risk, but what the kids are doing. They're fentanyl or drugs that are laced with fentanyl so easily through social media and things. Finding a warehouse simply.
I did talk to Officer Cardinelli, and he did say, yeah, we, of course, we'll do it for the Keenber High. I told him that, you know, the superintendent's open to doing it, early next school year. But I didn't ask him what you just asked, Alan, you know, would you guys be willing to do it also in the evening for parents? So, that's something I have to talk to, Officer Cardinelli about. We would do it, from that day from the school, and then that evening, hopefully for some parents at the little theater. And I didn't ask Dawn that either. Dawn was opening to have, if we're doing it for the students at an assembly,
I think that if the school is willing to do it as an assembly, it's really nothing we need to be involved in or spend money, because it's already going to occur.
Yes.
But I think that extra step of reaching out to the homes, to the parents, to the grandparents, or those that are raising kids. That's that extra step or that missing link, I think, in the message, and would you telltale signs, you can things like that, that's where we can have greater impact. That could be
Right, yeah, okay, well, I can reach out to, Don Shoemaker again this week. Would you also be open to doing the same you guys did last year and having,
I did speak to, the Lions Club board, and of course, some funds towards an evening event, money to be used. We talked about whether it's bounce houses or things for the kids so the parents could attend.
okay, yeah?
That was a unanimous vote as well, too, that they would provide some funding.
That'd be good, yeah. We could, have some, set it up, and
Well,
I post them around town, or, I know when I talked to Brandon about it, 'cause he knows, of course, and maybe you guys would wanna print up some shirts or just something,
Well, I think
pass
that
out.
the biggest thing, and I will defer to the expert on the board about, things going home with kids and parents actually reading them. What's the best way, or has there ever been a best way determined to get parents to read things?
That's a great question. No, you can send them home. I think the best way is electronically, where it appears in their text message or the email. We have parents, we have 3 parents
Email,
right
for
here.
sure.
I don't know what they think. I think the paper copy is usually, I don't know where that one winds up.
Did I share my?
Bottom of the backpack.
Yeah, smash down.
Smash the
Yeah.
bottom of the
Email
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
bottom of the backpack.
Yeah.
Emails, texts.
Yeah.
That's the way you should, and, copy it and put it in the body of the text, so you don't have to open the attachment even, that kind of.
Well, and if we could do that, we could actually, like, any event, you've got to send it out a couple times. About it, to get a reminder, hey, this is coming up. Anything that'll increase.
Yeah, more than one notice, one kind of not too far away, but, 10 days or so, and then another one like the night before. I don't know, that's just my
Yeah.
ballpark feeling on it.
So then we will have some funds for that, Lions, a little bit of funds from Lions Club, that's.
I think that then, though, begs the question is, what do we do with the current funds?
That's on our agenda right now, that's
And
right.
so I realize there's the one request. So we've got to take a look at that.
Anybody else have any, ideas or comments on the use of our funds for our next budget year?
Talked to a couple of officers, and they have their own pet projects, one was for a drone, another one had some kind of, protection inside the protective vest. Harder, but he never got back to me with the particulars of it, so I assume that kind of went the way of the dinosaur, so and then the drone was kind of shot down, no pun intended, you know, because of the training and liability and all that, and so, you know, really, nobody came up with a specific project that the police department needed, you know, and like we talked about the in-car cameras and the body cams and all that, and that all sounds like it's being, if not fully funded, but, you know, at least partially funded through grants, so.
So grants, yeah,
So anyway, Brandon's suggestion is well taken.
yeah, I agree. That, I know like during soccer and, mostly during soccer, there's a lot of kids there. Restrooms are gonna, obviously, the lights are, you know, to help with safety. And the hardwire to the cameras is, you know, we've talked about wanting to do that, so, yeah. That's, you know, help out with. Some things we've been talking about for several, like 2 or 3 meetings, we've talked about hardwired to those cameras at the wall. Right now, that's where they point. They mostly point, that I know of, you can see they point at the play structure.
I'm just curious,
Yeah.
how much as I've been there for, like, you know, Abbey soccer games and whatnot, I paid attention.
You drive by and you see the play structure, look right behind them, and you look up, you see the pole with the cameras right on it, yeah. The little tiny solar panel there.
So at this point, there's no infrastructure beyond that point. Yeah.
That's it.
So then would the, our funds, can they be earmarked for the video project, or do we want to just use it for in general? Up in the budget.
Yeah, I think, just power in general, because for the light, help with the lights. Lighting, and then also for the cameras. Right, yeah, Brian, you speak on that.
So it's all gonna be the same. If it was just for power for just the bathrooms, I wouldn't have came to this committee specifically for it. I just would wanna see more of a safety nexus. So that's why the cameras are really, you're putting the money towards the camera project, is what it is. It's just that is also gonna give those bathrooms power at the same time that they're giving those cameras power. So it is serving two masters for sure. The bathroom is gonna be more of a temporary power thing, whereas the cameras are gonna have permanent power. That's the big difference.
Suggestion, if you are waiting for PG&E to be there by January, have a contingency. They are still very well backed up. Had, one of my clients on Warren Unified, power to the curb, new campus, and it took PG&E 10 months to get from the curb to the buildings. And that's just one example. PG&E is woefully behind, having more and more work out, trying to get things done.
This is our contingency.
Yeah.
Because this will give us immediate power. So as soon as we have the bathrooms in, this power source, we will have power, because it'll be completely self-contained with us. Then once the hookup comes, we'll no longer need to use the battery storage for the bathroom lights.
Are the bathrooms gonna be closed at night?
Yes.
Locked?
They're gonna be closed during, the same as regular bathrooms at other parks. They're gonna be closed during the same times, and then probably Saturday mornings and stuff, they'll open them for a certain amount of time.
And a city employee goes by and locks.
Yeah, that's all part of the Parks Department.
Usually around 7. I've been at Coffee Pot Park. My grandson and then the city employee comes about, kind of late, like 7 o'clock.
I think it's usually when the sun starts to go down.
What's
I think
that?
it's a rolling time, like usually when it starts to get dark or.
Yeah, dark,
Yeah, dusk.
exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Has the city ever looked at, self-locking and self-unlocking or automated locks for the
I don't
restaurant?
know, look at that.
They exist in the long term, is a huge labor.
I have to give it, the rest of it, I get locked in.
Well, there's, you know, you can always, on anything, always play the what if sort of thing.
Yeah.
Reality versus what ifs. It just comes to mind, because the cost to the city of going by and securing each day, and then unlocking as well, you know, like Saturday mornings, years ago, I, remember we were cooking breakfast for the veterans. And talking with Henderson. A woman comes up and starts yelling at him because the bathrooms in the park were not unlocked yet. You know, and I'm looking at him and he's like, automation and technology and everything costs to vastly improve.
I don't know, people do it, phones, you know.
And can save our cities lots of money.
We'll look into that soon.
We can ask about that at our next finance meeting, ballpark money comes up.
Any other discussion on, the funds?
The decision making, calendar wise,
By July, right?
You have 60 days.
Yeah, say by July.
where they're at. I'm just gonna throw it out there and say, you know, I'd make a motion. Disperse the fund project at this point.
Second that.
Okay, I'm willing to agree, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, got passed today, Brandon.
Thank you.
Yes. Other business. On our agenda, anybody have they'd like to bring up, business for public safety? I'll just bring it out there again, that I will speak with Shoemaker about also, you know, having fentanyl awareness and education in the evening at the Little Theater, you know, day as the assembly for the high school kids. I'll bring that back to our next meeting.
So it's not scheduled till August 14th, but like I said, you guys can meet before then,
We
'cause
can, if we want, yes.
school starts, I think, that
And
week.
if I feel we need to, or,
You guys probably wanna plan ahead if
I
it's
would-
gonna
I
go
would think-
forward, yeah.
yeah, probably would. School starts, and yeah, and then we can just call it, you know, July, whatever. I talked to him, then I'll get with Abby, and then we'll have it sooner, you know.
I would think July. Kind of structure it out, especially with our, media expert sitting between the two of us now.
Right? Then you guys just wanna schedule our next meeting for July?
You wanna do Monday, July 17th? Tentatively, no?
I won't be
July,
here.
summer months get hard for,
Yeah, they do.
yeah.
Over at the home country in Sweden that day, so
Oh,
I won't be here. But anytime
Okay.
after 19th, later, by me, but you know, I don't have to be here, I guess.
We'll do it the next Monday?
I was gonna say, or can we just, you know, do a one-off of a couple days later instead of a Monday item?
It'll have to be a Monday.
okay, so, we have a council meeting July 19th, so, that Thursday, the 20th, Friday, July 21st, Monday, July 24th.
How's your jet lag gonna be?
Yeah.
It's gonna be bad, but I know the 20th is the final band concert. I
You
know,
wanna
like,
do that?
That's the reason why I'm coming home, when I'm coming home.
Wow, man, okay.
So Friday, the 21st, or Monday, the 24th?
Let's go Monday, the
Monday, that's why.
24th sounds good, yeah. By 24th, I think will work. Good for you.
Yes, good for me.
How did you?
I hated to leave.
Hot over there yet?
You know, it was, while it was hot here, I think we hit, the highest was 81.
Not at all. Okay, so no other business. Okay, next I will adjourn our meeting for today.